Okay, I think it's like I'm back at the studio and the technical difficulties. Uh, Good evening, everyone. Welcome to CMATS Live. I am Jordan Dellabough, your host for the Canadian Modern Arnis Training Studios, where we practice the martial art of modern Arnis created by the late Professor Remier Precis. I am here, not in my studio, and Big Steve's not here. So, I'm doing a different type of video tonight. One that I hope will reach my black belts and reach potentially future instructors that want to teach modern Arnis through CMATS. And tonight's going to be a video on instructing. What makes a good instructor? What makes people want to come back and learn from that instructor? Things of that nature. And we're going to touch base on that in just a couple minutes. But first, hi. I'm not at the studio for a couple of reasons. I woke up this morning and right up here decided to go twang like a guitar string. And as it went with the guitar string, my neck went kink, and it says, no, you're not doing much today. So I've been kind of just chilling all day, trying to let this rest a bit up on the shoulder area and mend. As for Big Steve is not here right now because he's out doing some stuff that's very important. Has to do with his work. So we wish Big Steve, if he's watching this or catching this wherever he is, I won't say where he is, but United States of America, we hope that he's doing well and he's having a good time. And to know here, back home, in the house and everything else, all is well. Okay, so that's Big Steve, that's me, and that's another thing. If you're watching this video live with me right now, do hit that thumbs up if you can, and do subscribe to our channel as we are trying to grow this channel to 500. And we've already reached, I think, 476 this week. We went up another 4 or 5 subscribers this week. And that was probably after I did a shameless plug at my seminar for the YouTube channel. I did a seminar, a Modern Arnis seminar up in Duncan, BC, on Vancouver Island. And it's about an hour's drive from Victoria. And there's an island kung fu school up there. And so I embarked on a little journey and took up some students, and we went and had an awesome seminar, which you could find some pictures if you wanted to on our Facebook page under either it's called CMATS-Modern Arnis or Modern Arnis-CMATS. One or the other. So where am I then? If I'm not at the studio, where am I? Let's just see if I can take a peek. What's going on behind me? So I'm in my backyard, and the ocean's behind me, the trees are around me, beautiful trees, maybe some eagles will fly by, we'll see. I don't know. You never know what happens in nature. But I'm here to connect with you guys because it's Wednesday with my pinched nerve, without Big Steve. And like I said at the beginning of this video, we're gonna talk about, what are we gonna talk about? Instructing. What makes a good instructor? How to become a good instructor. And theories and ideas there. If you don't like those theories and ideas, feel free to throw them out the window. A lot of people learn differently in the years that I have been instructing. And in understanding that people learn differently, we also have to understand that if we live in different countries, we also have different laws we got to follow. So we can't always teach, let's say, old school, because a lot of people wouldn't stand for that, wouldn't like that. So we have to create a new school and train of thought. Some martial arts do, just visual. They watch, and that's all you can do. You're not allowed to speak. You just go in, you train, you watch, you train, and then that's it. Some martial arts do a lot of talking and never any physical work hardly. But they got lots of theory and lots of talking. Some martial arts and instructors will learn how to combine both and find a happy medium. But in the end, martial art, in my opinion, and obviously all of this is in my opinion, martial art comes down to, first and foremost, action. Action. Action means you don't want to be a deer in the headlights. And then what does that mean, that analogy mean? It means when a deer is on the road and it turns and faces the oncoming car, it freezes as it stares into its headlights, and then the car hits the deer. The deer lacks action when an event is about to happen. Oh, wait, 1 second. We've got people chiming in here. Is that what we got happening? America, rah. Okay. We got some interesting people. I didn't know I could read chat on this phone. Okay. We got people out there and they're chatting with us. Appreciate it. What's happening? So in this idea of being able to instruct, I look at remembering the idea and the concept in this modern theory of having 3 different ways of learning. We have our visual, so we're watching. We're watching what the instructor's doing. We have our audio. We can hear, talk about the technique. Talk about, if we're doing a technique, what we should be trying to feel. And that brings us to the third part. If you get to be the instructor's, Japanese word is uke, but other words are partner. If you get to be the instructor's partner while demonstrating said techniques, that's when you get to feel what's going on. So now we have sight, we have feeling, and we have hearing. And because people learn differently, now you're reaching out to a broader spectrum of people. Being able to talk about a technique, tear it apart, put it back together, and then get them to go do it. And then they get to feel it themselves working with each other. Now, when it comes to instructing, this is about, again, things that I've learned over the years, whether I've learned it from someone else or I've done it naturally without knowing it until I analyzed it and looked at it. And one of those concepts and ideas is you don't always have to correct everyone. I can walk by 2 students working together and one of them's making a mistake. But you can see, if you just stop and instead of wanting to jump in there and correct, if you just stop and look and listen and just try to feel what you think he might be trying to do. Sometimes I'll just walk on and let them figure it out because they haven't turned. I'm standing right there. They haven't turned and asked me for help. And there's a key point. Wait sometimes for people to ask you for help. Sometimes people just want to figure stuff out on their own. And that's why teaching is so dynamic in trying to reach out to a broader audience. Oh, we got someone saying something. I use the same philosophy with my wife. That's awesome. That's good. All right. But yeah, just if you can take this philosophy anywhere in life, absolutely, absolutely. I got 2 young daughters, and I have to use it with them too, because in helping them and guide them through life, they both learn differently. I can't do it the way I did it with my eldest. I can't do it with my youngest. It just does not work. So that being said, you're instructing a class, you're out there, you're connecting, and you don't always have to correct. So when you do correct, though, when you want to engage and enter in, there's a philosophy I learned back in the year 2000, I think it was. Maybe even, sometime around then, give or take a year. And one of those philosophies was PCP. What does that mean, PCP? Well, back in the 70s, that probably meant something else. I won't go there. But we want to change it to the idea of being positive, offer the correction, and then go back to being positive. So how could I explain that to you right now? Teaching about the idea of instructing, PCP. Instead of just going, hey, you're doing that wrong, or hey, try this. Go in with first going, I like what you're doing. You're on the right track. The energy's happening. We're just going to change a little element. And then they're opening up. They're like, oh, okay, I'm doing it right, but there might be a small change I could do here. So they enter in to a small change. Then I don't say anything until I see them doing it properly. They're trying to do it. Then when I go to walk away, because they no longer need my eye anymore, someone else might need my eye, because I'm teaching a lot of students in front of me. So then when they no longer need my eye anymore, I then walk away and I go, hey, you're on the right track. That's a good job. Keep that up. And then I exit out of that situation and head over to another group of people working on stuff. So what have I done? I positively entered into their mindset. I've tried to bring about the idea that they're doing something correctly, but there's a slight modification we can make, and then let them know they're doing it correctly now. So PCP, great little concept. Don't know who created it. I didn't come up with it, but when I heard about it, I loved it. Once I started implementing that in my life, that changed in a lot of other areas as well. In my work that I was doing, as well as training martial arts. At the time when I was learning about that, I had just gotten married. So, dealing with my wife sometimes, and I'll be honest, yep, I'll PCP her and she won't even know it. I do it so naturally. But I find it's a lot better than just coming in and attacking and saying, no, get out of the way. This is how it's done. All right. So again, this is going back to the original idea of how can I make sure that I'm being the best instructor I can be, and how I can leave this to my future instructors who are training in martial arts or training in modern Arnis. So what's another point? By the way, I don't have any papers in front of me. I'm just doing this from my mind and head right now. So bear with me if I take a moment to think. Thanks a lot for the person saying out there, I got great advice. All teachers and coaches and basically anyone will benefit from taking that approach. I agree with you 100%. It's a great approach. Now, sometimes there's not enough time to PCP. So that might be like, you can see something happening and there might be an emergency that's about to occur. Like you see in modern Arnis, we use sticks. So you might see a stick coming close to someone's head, but they don't see it. I'm going to inject right in there right away. And I'm not going to worry about being the correct positive. I'm going right into the stopping, the correction, and correcting right away. Because safety is number one. Safety is important. You can't heal when you're training. So I will jump right in if there's an emergency that calls for it. Now, and sometimes people won't like the way I jump right in, but I have to cut through the energy that everything stops immediately. And I'll attribute it to kind of like that dad voice or that mom voice. When they all of a sudden, the kid's running across the road and they just scream at the top of the lungs, stop! That kind of injection. There's a purpose for it. And there's a reason why children and people stop when that energy comes out. So then there can be cases where we do not use the PCP. But keep that in mind. Not everything is set in a stone or set in a box. Situations are very fluid, and you got to be able to move and flow with each one. So again, now looking back at, that sun's beating on my face right now. It's beautiful. I hope I'm not burning. But anyways, I appreciate you, everyone. I can see coming in and saying hi and stuff. Please do give a thumbs up to this video. I appreciate it. And subscribe to our channel if you have that opportunity. We're trying to make our way to 500 subscribers, and we're at 476. We're so close. Now, where else does that leave us? That leads us to here. Well, I'm thinking you guys stare at the beautiful water for a second here. Where is it? There we go. What else was another point I wanted to bring up? I don't know if you guys can hear the birds, but they sound great right now. Okay, let's put the hat down a bit so I can get my eye in here. Where does that leave us? So I'm instructing, I'm teaching, I'm going around, I'm injecting. Now, here's another point. There we go. We got another point. What happens when you go along and someone said, you can hear someone saying, hey, you can go harder. I can take more. As the instructor of the class, if I'm demonstrating on someone or going up and helping someone, they go, well, you can hit me harder. As the instructor, I take that as a yellow flag. I don't take it as a green light, a green flag. I go, okay, good to know. And then I'll give them the exact same pressure that I just gave them a minute ago. And the reasoning why I don't go harder just because they say so is that I have to be able to view things not just from what's in front of me, but if I can do this, from out here. And things that I see in front of me as an instructor, if I'm only looking here, right here, then I'm missing sometimes what that might look like from out here. And what that looks like from out here might change whether or not I do something from that perspective. So I don't always let the student tell me I could go harder. When I feel their ability, and I feel it through the transition of the art itself, the martial art itself, and the connection, when I feel that that's there, then I'll go, okay, I'm going to turn up the dial here. Let's have some fun. And then they go, oh, okay, here we go. And they turn up the dial. But just keep in mind, not always do you want to turn up the dial right away when being an instructor, when teaching martial art especially. Because again, safety is number one, and you don't want to injure that student to try to prove that your technique works. As far as I've known it, in almost every martial art, they've all got interesting techniques. And I've been doing martial arts since I was 4 years old. So I've seen a lot of different martial arts. I've partaken in a lot of different martial arts. And I've done quite well in a lot of different martial arts. But they'll have some techniques you like, and they'll have some techniques you won't ever do. It's not for you. Some are based solely on weapons. Some are based solely on being empty-handed and no weapons. And when you're doing those things, especially when you have a weapon in your hand, I hear a lot of people say a lot of times, oh, I had a broken rib. I got my knuckle busted. I've had dislocations. Like I said, you can't train when you're healing. So as an instructor, I want to avoid all those times when people could potentially get hurt. Now, mind you, in how I teach now doesn't mean that here's an interesting phrase you're about to hear, doesn't mean that I don't give love taps. Love taps, to me, bring about a certain awareness of a technique, awareness of an idea, awareness of why this might work, what we're working on. And love taps, I find, are, if done correctly, can teach the student properly. And over time, it's to teach the student not to give in to those love taps, not to let their mind travel there, but to let it exist, and it's okay. That being said, so there'll be times as an instructor, I will give a little love tap to enlighten the consciousness, to let them go, just in case you thought you could do something there, this is here as well. And once you feel that, that might make sense of why the rest of the technique works. Uh, Again, I got to be able to read the student to make sure that they are ready for it or can handle it. It's not something I would do to a new student walking in the first 3 months. There's no purpose in that. There's no reason for that. They have a lot to learn before they start to experience what I call love taps. And all my senior students know what love taps are, and yet they've been with me for, well, some of them 17 years-ish. I don't know the exact dates, but a long time. Like Big Steve will say, you guys know Big Steve. Big Steve's been with me for, what year are we in? 2024. I think he started in 2007 or 8 or 9. It was one of those three, so he's been with me a long time. And you've seen me give Steve once in a while on these videos, love taps. And he doesn't walk away hurt. He doesn't walk away going, that sucks. He goes, okay, that's good to know. I never knew that existed. I didn't know my mind would go there. And it's a learning opportunity. So that's part of the instruction as well, is knowing when to implement that theory and idea. With kids, it's, when I raise children and stuff, it's kind of like giving them a hard lesson. It's, nope, you got yourself up into that tree. I'm not just going to put a ladder up and come and get you and bring you down. I want to see you try and get down out of that tree first. And I'm here for you. I'll watch you. I'll catch you if you fall. And it's just kind of like that hard lesson idea. Even for adults, it's still good. Because adults, heck, we get more stubborn as we get older, and we all know that. We get more set in our ways. And we got to learn how to have a system that knows how to break through that, to give us a new understanding, a new awareness. So that's what I'll say about love taps. Then we get into, there was something else. Oh, there it is. Okay, in teaching and instructing. Oh, we got Master Barker out there. Hello, sir. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I thought last week was the last week. Oh, no. We still got, once Big Steve gets back from his trip, he's out in your neck of the woods, actually. Beyond your neck of the woods. Big Steve is, well, northeast of in the United States. So I'll say that much. And we had, I know he would say hi, so I'll say hi for him as well. But our last week, that's a good thing to address right away. Our last week will be the 27th or something like that, I think is a Wednesday, mid-26th maybe, June. And then we're going to take July off, August off, and then we will come back in, where are we going to come back? September, probably like the second week of September. We will come back in and start our live. But we got, obviously, lots of videos to watch on our channel. In that time, I will be putting up and transitioning from martial artist. Well, I'll still be training, but I will also be engaging in my other love, which is fishing out here on the ocean, on the Pacific Northwest. And I put up videos on this channel as well for those. So those will be popping up. And it's my alter ego. It's where I become a pirate and anything goes because it's the ocean. That being said, so what's another theory and thought process on becoming an instructor? And what's important? The important thing is you have to let yourself make mistakes. And when you make those mistakes, correct them, but don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't lose sleep over it. Apologize to yourself. Apologize to the student, even if it's, esoterically or just into the air. Or even if you see them next time, say, look, I made a mistake. There's nothing wrong with honesty. People love and need to hear honesty these days. And connecting with them and going, you know what? Maybe I didn't teach that technique right. Or maybe I did, but I didn't execute it right and I should have lightened up. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good communication. It builds character. It builds humility. And it helps people almost relate to you more. You become more relatable. Instructors should not be high up on pedestals, in my mind, of course. Again, this is in my opinion. We can have them up on a step or two, but they shouldn't be up on a, way up there, untangible, can't touch, can't reach. Because we all should be able to get to that point. And the great thing about instructing when you get there is that you'll be forced to learn to take all the techniques you've ever learned and tear them apart into smaller micro movements, and then giving that to your student, and then piecing it all back together. When those processes happen, that's the other 33% of the learning. So the 33% of learning martial art is doing the technique. The next 33% of the martial art is receiving the technique. And then the last 33% of the martial art is to teach the technique. And then there's that 1% left. And that can be divided up into a couple different things. Kind of, natural ability, just your passion for the art, passion for what you're doing, things that can grow. So when I'm instructing, there's something you get to a point after you've been instructing for a while and you know the techniques really well and you know them inside out. You get to a point where you don't just stand up in front of someone and they're in front of you and you say, okay, do this. They look at you and they're going to want to mimic you, but they won't be able to because you're facing them. So the first time you start instructing, you'll turn and face the same way as them and go, oh yeah, do this. And then they'll do that. And then you'll turn and face them and then they'll do their thing and you'll do your thing if you're doing a two-person sparring idea or something. Now, sometimes that's the beginning of instructing and learning how to do it. But then there's this concept that goes, I'm demonstrating something difficult. Can they understand it from their side? Am I able to portray it facing them? And can they see it from their side? If they can't, okay, step 2. Can I see what I'm doing from their side? In other words, I no longer need to turn and face the same direction as them. Can I see what they're seeing when I'm doing a technique? So now this comes from this idea where we're looking at things from this perspective, coming outside. And the more that we practice that involves a lot of visualization. Real quick, what is visualization? Visualization is, let's say everyone knows what a block and a counter into an arm bar. Okay, so you're lifting your hand, you're grabbing the wrist, and then you're attacking their elbow and taking them down into an arm bar. Being able to lay in bed, not moving, close your eyes, and visualize. That's visualizing. Being able to do that in the moment when there's other things going on around you is you've been practicing visualization for a while. Because a lot of times when you start to visualize at first, you'll need calmness around you. So you can really image and see two people engaging in what's happening. So then as an instructor, can I see what's happening from that perspective? And reaching out and trying to help the person achieve what they're doing on their side without having to turn and face them. That's a step up. It takes a while to learn. And if you can do that, that is, again, elevating that experience, one, for the student, but also elevating your experience as an instructor. Also, still keeping an eye on the mats of what's going on, which leads me into my next point. We always talk about safety is number 1. But just before I go into safety number 1, let's check out that ocean view again. What a gorgeous evening. Yeah, a gorgeous evening. And that leads us into, where was I going? Safety. Okay. So when I'm on the mats and I'm instructing, I don't stand in one spot. I walk around the mats. I'd be equivalent to like a tiger in a cage. You're just walking in a circle, getting my exercise in, watching what people are doing, refining if I need to help refine, letting people make mistakes, let them understand why something works, give them guidance, but keep walking around. And my ultimate goal is to make sure if I'm keeping an eye on safety all the time, that no one should get hurt in class and everyone should walk away. I think, though, in all the years I've been instructing, I'll knock on some wood here. There we go. Okay. In all the years I've been instructing, when it comes to safety, I think one guy once had a scratched eye, a scratched cornea. He got a scratch there. And it was his own weapon, his own stick did it to him. He caught a recoil or something happened. And other than that, you know, there's the odd bruise, maybe you know, myself in my own training, I think I've had this finger right here dislocated once. I know it has. That finger here was dislocated once. But I've never had anything broken, because when you're training and teaching martial arts, you also have to understand when to tap. So not only are you watching for everyone else's safety, but you're watching for your own safety. So that when you're pairing up with a newbie, a new beginner, they don't necessarily know all the ins and outs and ideas and corrections and softness, or they just want to hit hard and go to town and learn something cool or effective. So you also have to learn when to tap. Tapping is a survival technique. And when you're tapping, that's when everything stops. You know, the technique ends. So even as an instructor, and I have someone new working on me, I tap, because what's important? What's important is my health. My health is important even as I get older. My teeth, as an example, are important. Do I want to, you know, we train with sticks and we get a puño in the mouth. I don't want my teeth knocked out, especially when this is my full-time job. This is what I do. I don't have insurance for dental, things of that nature. So it's important that I know how to conduct and create an environment that is people respecting people, not just people damaging people. And that's another thing an instructor's got to keep in mind, in my opinion. Now, that being said, I'm sure I've gone on for quite a bit here. I think I've gone on, for half an hour almost here. And there's more, but I think we'll stop there. I just wanted to connect with everyone. Big Steve and I should be back next week. Training the art of modern Arnis, which is what we do. We love sharing it. And again, we're working up to 500 subscribers, everybody. And we're at 476. We're so close. So if you know anyone out there you can share the channel with, that'd be great. If you can give us a thumbs up on this video. It helps to let YouTube know that people like our content. And out of all the views we have, people do like our content. And the next live video I might come out with might be my first live video I do about the boat and fishing. Well, no, not the next one. The next one's with Big Steve, and then we got one more after that. But in July and August, yeah, we might get a live video on fishing out here on the West Coast, and have some fun with that as I enter into my alter ego. Gilligan is his name, and I have fun being Gilligan. Whether or not the family's with me or whether or not I'm on my own, it's always a blast. But I hope you're able to join us then too. So this video has been, we got Drake208 out there. Hey, Drake, thanks for the hello. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone checking in on this video, checking us out, keeping a connection strong and going. I'll deal with the pinched nerve in my neck that I woke up with this morning, which is why I'm not at the studio right now training, letting that heal. I tell you, sleeping's more dangerous to me than martial arts is lately. So yeah, I'm wishing everyone a great week, rest of the week. It's Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week. Have a good weekend. And Big Steve and I should be back on the mats next week. And we'll have some fun. Well, we got this. Drake 208 says, I got one too. You got a pinched nerve? Is that what you're talking about? We can all start talking about our injuries now, what we're feeling today. So if you've enjoyed this, which I hope, you felt there's something there, and can connect with the idea of what it means to be an instructor. This is also for those future instructors at my studio, for them to watch someday and document some concepts and some ideas and some theories. I'll share one more with you. I'll share one for those of you that have hung around. I'll share one more with you. What do I do when I have a student or a person, not a student, a person enter the studio and I'm the instructor, and I'm not necessarily liking their energy? I feel that their intent is not good. How do I handle that? How do I deal with, as a owner of a studio and an instructor? Because I don't want them coming in and hurting my students. My safety is number one in that studio, right? So I'll tell you, I'll document this, a little secret technique that I do. And it has worked 100% of the time, every time. And it's to provide a super over-the-top, really polite type of attitude. Like, I'm talking, I want to all of a sudden invite them in for tea. Come on in, have some tea with us. And I just got a fresh pot on, because I have a little kitchenette in my studio. And I become really, really nice. I haven't had a person last when I think they've got negative energy, like just not good intent, last for longer than 3 minutes standing in front of me before they're exiting the door saying, thanks, I don't need a card, we'll be fine, and they walk out. And I'm okay with that, because I'm not here to teach everybody. I'm here to run with those that want to run with me. And when we run, we absolutely enjoy ourselves and have a great time. And connect with other people. Because we need to do that. We need to connect with other people. It's part of our species. We like that connection. Until we fish. Then we want to be alone. Get our own time, right? So anyways, thanks again. What did Drake say? Where do you live? It's so bright. I love it. Live. Oh, sorry. Gotta go. All right. Check you later. Where do you live? It's so bright. I love in Florida, FL? Whatever he's putting. High five to you, Drake 208, wherever you came from. Thanks for joining us. And again, I'm going to wrap it up now. Unless there's any questions out there from anybody, I'll give you 8 seconds as there's a delay. And again, I'll give you one last view of this beautiful area that I live in. And so since someone asked where I live, I'll tell you where I live. We live in Canada, on the west coast, in a province called British Columbia, on an island in that province called Vancouver Island. And not Vancouver the city, Vancouver Island. It's way better than Vancouver the city. But that's where we live, and it's an absolutely gorgeous night here right now. It's approximately, 7:15. The sun is out. Clouds, no clouds in the sky. And probably about 20 degrees right now. 17, 18, 19, 20 degrees Celsius. So that's where we live. I hope you guys have taken something from tonight's video. A lot of the concepts I talked about are difficult and hard, but do stub your toe and be kind to yourself. Don't get angry at yourself for making a mistake. We often are very kind to others when they make mistakes, but when it comes to ourselves, we got to learn to be a little kinder sometimes. So with that, I thank everyone for checking in tonight here at CMATS Modern Arnis. And I'm Jordan Dellabough, your host for the evening, and I wish you guys all the best this week, and we'll meet you back here 6:45 next Wednesday with Big Steve and I as I pull an eyelash out of my eye and connect with you guys again. All right, good night, everyone. All right, what do I do now? See, if Big Steve were here right now, he'd tell me what to do. He's high tech. Don't forget me, give me a thumbs up, everybody, and subscribe to the channel. Dang it. What do I press next? This? What was that? Nope, wasn't that. Whatever happened there, I don't know. Oh, I've never done this on my phone. Well, I've done it once, but I don't remember how. I guess I pressed this one. All right, I'm going to press this one up here. Bye-bye.